This is gonna be such a hard challenge.
Well, here we are.
Well, here we are. So in terms of the routine tier list, it's one thing wearing a sleep mask. It's another thing wearing earplugs. And it's also another thing, buying and investing in a ring to track your sleep. But it's another thing following a social media trend in relation to something as important as this, which revolves around doing something for a third of your life, and that is sleep. Specifically, the daily shed routine. You've seen it on your feed, or your girlfriend may even have done it herself, or you probably saved the video because, as useful as it is to save the video and never come back to it later, it's another thing going out of your way, buying all of the stuff you need for their routine, and then making a video on it, which I guess brings us to this point right now, because I've always been curious, as I'm sure a lot of you watching this have, whether all or at least some hopefully of the gadgets and tools you see in these routines actually make a difference. Therefore, over the next 5 nights I will be testing these gadgets thoroughly to see if they can give me and help me wake up with clearer skin, better hair, less frizzy and all that, and also potentially a better sleep quality. And I will say I'm quite skeptical about this routine because it does look quite goofy, but let's see if there's any merit to these products. So here's the rundown. Number 1, I have the silk pillowcase. Although I will be wearing a silk bonnet, but just in case that falls off and slips off in the middle of the night, because I did see on some of the reviews of this routine that did happen, I've got that in case. Then, of course, we've got the tape. Now, this is not only tape for the nose, but it's also for the mouth. If you've ever used it, it's the stickiest thing ever. It even sometimes leaves residue on your skin, but that definitely won't be coming off in the night. And then next up, keeping with the theme, we've got the pink chin strap, and this is probably one of the more unusual products and gadgets of this routine. I mean, just look at that. Then we've got the silk bonnet, of course, pink to match everything else. And last but not least, as well as, the under eye patches to help with those skin concerns. Although I'll be applying those in the morning because they should, or at least they're recommended, to only be applied for 15 to 20 minutes. We have the forehead Botox imitation tape that you put on your forehead, and that's this guy right here. Now, side note, the good thing about this routine right off the bat is if someone were to try and rob my house and happen to stumble into my room, I'll probably be thinking something along the lines of, what crazy did I just run into? And then hopefully obviously revert to becoming a law-abiding citizen after that. Here's the criteria that I'm going to be judging this routine on. Number 1, and probably most importantly as well, we have the results. The quality of my sleep, trying to keep everything consistent in terms of the time I go to bed, the time I wake up, as well as the hair quality and also my skin quality. And then in terms of the hair, we're just going to be looking at whether it becomes more dry, less dry, and also more importantly, frizzy, and how, this routine deals with that. So as night 1 started, I thought this challenge was going to be a breeze, but as I would come to realize, I was quite restricted. I also came to the realization that I'd be looking like this for the next 5 nights, but you know what? Who hasn't always wanted to look like this wolf grandma before they go to bed? And after a few turns and twists throughout the night, and maybe a few burglars scared off, it's safe to say I survived night 1. Which brings us to our first morning, and that means under eye patch time. Now, we all know how precious time is in the morning, but if I can't commit to this extra 15 minutes of self-care, then how will I reach my true potential? They're so dry. Wow. Is this what newborn children feel like? My jaw kind of hurts, so let's get this thing off. And with that said, that completes my first of 5 daily sheds. God, look at all that stuff on it. I don't know how this happened. Now, a few things right off the bat before we get into the whole recap of how I slept and all that. I will say I did have to wake up a few times in the middle of the night. I remember once, I believe it was 5 a.m. My mouth tape had fallen off. But besides that, the chin strap seemed to hold up all right. But the question is, do I think I slept better? Did my sleep quality improve? Or did it actually become worse? This is going to be tough for the next 5 days. And that brings us to the end of night 1. So what did I think of the Daily Shed sleep routine? So let's start with number 1 would be the results. Alright, next up, number 2 on our list of criteria for judging this routine per day or night, let's say, is the general comfort. The general comfort. You know what? Because it's actually only the first night of using these gadgets, I'm not going to go too hard on them. So matter of fact, let's talk about all the positive things that happened in night 1. Number 1, and this was by far the thing I noticed the most, and that was the shedding. No pun intended. And that is from the silk hat. So I did wear the silk hat, and it did seem to still be on my head when I woke up. And by this, I mean I saw a lot less hair shed on the pillow, which was silk. So this means that that is working. So actually, in terms of the results, we do have a plus, and we do have one showing results already. Minus obviously the points you get taken off and deducted from putting that thing on in the first place, making you look like Little Red Riding Hood, the grandma in the bed. You guys know what I'm talking about. Also, as you guys would have noticed in that last clip of me waking up, I did have one of those sleep masks on, but that little thing actually made a huge difference. And that's because there seemed to be quite a bit of tension on my head from the chin strap, mostly the chin strap, strap, but then also the tape and the nose, just everything being on at the same time, feeling a bit confined. So for some reason that soft material from that sleep mask made a world of difference. So that brings us to the overall rating for night 1. And we're going to be giving it a 4.5 out of 10. And in terms of what I think could be improved for the nights to come, night 2, 3, 4, etc., definitely I need to find a better sleeping position. Alright, we're back for night 2, and check this out. I've kind of got the hang of this now. I've even got myself a new Mimikin Botox forehead patch on. Now on my camera, there's this side bit where I can see what you guys are seeing right now, and honestly, I still haven't gotten used to that. I can't take myself seriously with all this stuff on. But tonight should be a lot better than previous night, because what I did was I actually loosened this chin strap. It's still tight, as you can see, but when I wake up I shouldn't feel like I've been punched by McGregor. Instead, it should just be, you know, some light toning on the jaw, hopefully helping that jawline. Also, I decided to look up a few different sleep positions that I could try during this challenge. I did find some sleep positions that people do after surgeries, and it involves sleeping on your side, and basically you put a pillow in between your legs. So I'm hoping that that sleep position that I looked up will be able to work for us tonight. And with that said, night 2 is in full swing, and with my new game plan in mind, I felt ready to conquer night 2, and as you can see, I was even able to drink as I applied the mouth tape later on. Now let's run over some of the benefits of this routine, specifically these under eye patches. These will help give a temporary boost in brightening and depuffing, and as they create a barrier on the skin, the absorption may be improved as well. Alright guys, I have a confession to make. Maybe I was being a bit dramatic when it came to saying I don't know how much longer I can do this challenge for, and then it's not going to be possible. But you know what? There was actually some truth in that, because tell me why these guys is causing me more breakouts than I've had in the past 3 months combined. I mean, just look at this. Who even gets a pimple on their lip? And out of all the places as well, this is the most painful that you can get one. And let's hope that this is not a trend where I just wake up with 2 to 3 new pimples a day after using this mouth tape. Although I do like to look at the silver lining of things, and it's a good thing I have some skincare knowledge, because if I would have woken up and found this on my lip any other day, then maybe I would have been a bit more concerned. Alright, and now for the results for night 2. The only results I guess were negative ones, and that was the pimples on my face. So let's move on swiftly. So now we get on to general comfort. Now the general comfort for night 2, it was a bit better. I would say loosening the chin strap definitely made a difference in terms of the tension and the pain I woke up with on my jaw in the morning. Though I will say I cannot seem to get the mouth tape or the nose tape. One of the tapes, it's always going to be one, or the forehead patch to stay on for the entire night. And that's about it. Everything else remained quite constant. But I will say I'm looking forward to the results on day 5, because these eye patches, I've heard really good things about them. And obviously if I'm applying them every day for the recommended amount of time for 5 days, let's see if we get some good results from that. I've taken some before photos, I'll pop them on screen, and let's see what the after ones look like. That might actually be the only thing getting me through this challenge. And that gives us an overall rating for night 2 of trying this daily shed routine. We're getting better now, a 5.5 out of 10. Alright everybody, it is night 3, and the Little Red Riding Hood Wolf Grandma is officially tucked in, as you can see, and we are ready for bed. Now just for a little challenge, I decided to see how long it would take me to put all of this stuff on, and it came out to around 27 seconds. So that must be some sort of new record, because I could not see how I could make any of that faster. I've also noticed that the more I speak, the more that this chin strap seems to make my jaw tired. So without further ado, let's go to bed. And while I'm at it, for those wanting to improve their skin but not wanting to look like, well, this every night, our Sea Soother Cream is a better alternative to help with breakout prone, dehydrated, and textured skin. Alright, quick time jump. It is now the evening of night 4, and I'm sat here wondering, do I look like Henry Cavill yet? Now night 3 was quite uneventful, but in a good way, finally. I think my face has finally gotten used to wearing these gadgets during the night, or just in general, and I won't lie, when I wake up in the morning, I do see in the mirror a more put together face. But for now, let's get on with night 4, only 2 more days and nights until we get to the full 5-day transformation. But at the least, I will say, I have gained an appreciation for the women who indulge in a bit of the uglier you go to bed, the prettier you wake up mentality, and the effort that goes into striving for this eternal youth. Well, now that I've said my positive bit for the day, I cannot wait to get this challenge over with. What can I say? Sometimes you speak too soon, and this time that may have been the case, because after discovering this and the difference it made, I feel like I could be approaching my appearance peak. And this was just the discovery I needed to keep me going for these next 2 nights. And the blessings didn't stop there, because we finally got the mouth tape to stay on the whole night, which is quite embarrassing to say 4 nights into a 5-night challenge, but as cited by someone back in the day, or maybe that was Justin Bieber. But anyway, the point still stands. It's better late than never. Yep, only I would have just discovered that there was a neck strap as well as a chin strap on that device. But you know what? I'm not mad about it. I was honestly so confused on how to work it out at first and thought I had the whole thing figured out once I managed to get it around my head and sit-ish. And might I add, what a difference that made. I mean, it was arguably very close to the feeling of going from the iPhone 6 to the iPhone 11 back in the day. Though tomorrow's a big day, day 5, so let's get on with our night 4 recap. The general comfort has skyrocketed. I didn't have to reapply the tape in the middle of the night. Actually, for that matter, I didn't have to reapply anything. It all stayed on. And plus, best of all, there was no new breakouts around my mouth or on my face in general. And that makes night 4 get an overall rating of 7.5 out of 10. Now, some of you may be asking, that seems quite harsh, but I have high hopes for tomorrow after knowing and changing all the things I didn't know previously. And to be honest, there's no constructive criticism for any of these gadgets, but what I will say is at the end of this challenge, I'm going to be going over each of the gadget I used and give an honest and truthful review on how effective and useful I think they could be in this sleep routine. And with all that being said, let's apply this for the last time. And one more thing, I will say, in life, there will be a lot of things that will be missed. But I know for certain that this routine will not be missed. But in all seriousness, as I suit up for this last time and reminisce on this journey, it reminded me that while this routine may be extreme, it's important to change up the routine and the way you take care of yourself to keep life interesting and exciting. Alright everyone, welcome to the final daily shed. That marks 5 nights of using this insane sleep routine. One of the craziest I've ever seen, and of course you know we had to do it in style because it's our last one. But let's go over this whole challenge and see if there really were any payoffs. And by that I mean whether my jaw looks more toned, my under eye circles and bags and deep puffing is improved, and all that sorts of stuff. First, we're going to start with the under eye patches. Now don't ask me about the nose tape. I lost that in the middle of the night and I kind of just gave up. I wish these were reusable. They are quite cool. Then obviously we've got the chin strap as well as the neck strap, courtesy of night 4 me for realizing. And here we are. We've made it to the night 5 recap. We've had to endure 5 nights and mornings of this daily shed routine. So I'm going to tell you, was it worth it? And to do that, I'm going to be breaking down each individual item and telling you guys my honest thoughts and experiences with those items, and then also the routine overall as well. I'm so glad that this routine ended when it did because I can feel myself getting a cold right now. And like I said, if you're getting your mouth taped and you have a cold, there's no way you're surviving this challenge. So that is a plus already. And what is a challenge without a before and after? So let's have a look at my skin quality and also my hair if it's still frizzy. And the first item that we're going to start and talk about is the silk bonnet hat. And I'm not going to lie, I did get called out a bit in my comments on some of my short form videos that I made on this routine for calling it a silk sleep hat. But you know, I feel like that has a nice ring to it. Right off the bat, there's no dancing around the subject. I would 100% recommend the silk bonnet hat. And a lot of people do use it, both men and women, in their sleep routines now. There are a lot of options, especially colors wise too. And I would say that I definitely noticed an improvement in my hair shedding, breakage, whatever you want to call it. I noticed a lot less of it that would have been caused to friction originally, but now that friction is reduced because the silk is quite a slippery material, and this helped a lot with me, you know, losing less hair. I would say though, make sure you get one that does fit your head, not too tight obviously, but you don't want it too loose to where it falls off. Otherwise, there's no point in having it. But it's good to have both the silk sleep hat as well as the silk pillowcase, because, you know, if one falls off, then you have the other to rely on. And by the one falling off, I mean that silk bonnet. Next, we move to the mouth tape. Now, this one's a bit of a tricky one because obviously we saw in the first night that caused me a few breakouts around my face. And obviously no one wants that. But you know, I would say that I liked it. Obviously, besides from when you're sick, so right now wouldn't be the best time to use it. But I'd say for a prolonged, you know, extended period of time using it, you could definitely notice some benefits. I would recommend this one. But the only thing is make sure that you just cover your lips and not the skin all over your face so that you don't introduce new pimples when you wake up. Next, sticking to the tape used, we move on to the nose tape. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't really feel like I got too many benefits from this nose tape. Now there could be loads of reasons for this. The type of tape I used, how long I used it for, but you know, I just found that it fell off in the middle of the night. I'd wake up, I wouldn't know where it was, and I didn't really notice an improvement in the air intake on my nose. So I wouldn't completely disregard it. I did see a few nose tapes that actually visibly made your nostrils expand, but for the tape I used, I wouldn't recommend that. Forehead Botox Mimicking tape. I can't believe those are words that just came out my mouth, but let's have a look and what I think about them. I mean, if I could have got them to stay on my forehead without falling off, maybe, but without fail, they fell off every time. So I'm gonna give them a pass. Next, we have the under eye patches, and you know what? I'm going to let you guys be the judge of these. But irrespective of the results, I would say that I would incorporate these into my routine. Maybe not in the morning, because you know that 15 minutes is kind of golden time, but you know, maybe in the evenings, or when I have some free time, then sure, why not? Especially if they show results too, and you can get loads of different types to target loads of different concerns, which is a plus as well. Next, definitely quite a low-key gadget used in this routine, but one that could definitely be considered a classic, and that is the sleeping face mask. Not totally necessary, but could be useful. And like I said before, I think it's less to do with actually blocking the light, but it's rather the comforting feeling of that pressure on your eyes. And lastly, the silk or satin pillowcases. Again, like the silk bonnet hat, 100% yes, I would recommend these. Now, not only do these tend to be hypoallergenic, as well as help with the hair's hydration, but you know what, they also lessen the chances of getting wrinkles later on. So, you know, maybe if you use this, you won't need to use those Botox mimicking tapes. But as well as that, they also look and feel quite good as well. So I, of course, would recommend these. And I'm going to continue using these in my routine as I have for a while now, but it was nice to, you know, use them in a routine and actively think whether they're good and worth it or not. So is a daily shed routine worth it? Yes, if you're trying to scare off potential burglars or anyone just in your house, but if you're trying to get benefits, I would say you can lessen the amount of gadgets you're using and make it more comfortable. So you don't have under eye patches, a silk bonnet, a chin strap. You could just, you know, keep it simple and use one a night. But it was fun to do, and I definitely got a taste of that high maintenance upkeep. So with that being said, let me know what other crazy challenges you would like me to try in the comments, whether it's skincare, hair care, or anything related in the health and wellness space. I'd love to see what you guys want to watch. And with that being said, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.